Hello YouTube, this is Donald. Now, in the aftermath of a successful grow and harvest, I have to take everything apart. Not everything, but I have to drain the reservoir, throw out the old stump, scrub everything down, clean it up, reassemble it, because I'm going to put the moonshine haze seedlings in here that I'm going to have to separate the females from the males. But I have to grow them to a good size this time before I do that, so I can get a decent yield. But first I have to take all this stuff out of here and clean it all up and get it ready for a new grow. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drain the reservoir. And how I do that is with a siphon. There's about 10 gallons of nutrient solution in there, and I couldn't even pick up that reservoir with 10 gallons in there, plus everything else in there, so I can't move it. I've got to drain it first. And I'm going to throw all this equipment into the bathtub and scrub it all up. Take the pumps apart and clean them. I do not use any soaps or detergents in my cleaning because I don't want any of that stuff left behind that might contaminate my grow or kill my plants. I use only physical elbow grease and a scrub pad to physically scrub away anything, and good rinsing. I used to use hydrogen peroxide, but it's expensive and I really don't think it's necessary. I've never had any infections in my grows, so there's no pathogens in there. The hydroton, those clay pebbles that I use for a growing medium, they can be reused. And I used to soak them in a hydrogen peroxide solution, but it's time consuming, and that big gallon jug of hydrogen peroxide was very expensive. So I'm just going to rinse everything, go through it and pull out any dead plant material and reuse it. And I've done this before and I've had no problems. So I'm draining the solution into a 5-gallon bucket here, and when I get done draining that, I'll get back to you. Alright, I'm back. I have drained the swamp, as it were, drained the reservoir, almost completely empty. So now I'm going to remove that stump and all the roots underneath it and throw that out, and I'm going to save that hydroton. Alright, now let's take a look inside. Yeah, that's quite the root mass. Not as big as others I've had. It was a small yielding plant, by the way, that pineapple chunk that I was growing in here. After it was all dried and weighed, it turned in about 5.5 ounces. So that's a That's a low yield. It's not bad though. I mean, it's pretty good for just me, for my medicine. I'm allowed to have 10 ounces every 2 months, so 5.5 ounces is, you know, less than half, because it's going to take another 3 months to harvest again. So I'm still well within my legal limit. But here's all my, this is the recirculating pump, which takes the nutrient solution from the reservoir and pumps it up, and it comes through a little hole that I've poked in the lid, and then it continuously feeds the plant from the top down. It's called the top-down drip irrigation in the deep water culture. And I have 4 air stones, 2 flat round ones and 2 of these cylinder shaped ones. You want to get as much oxygenation in your solution as you can. The more the better. Keep those roots heavily oxygenated. It'll increase your yield. So I have to disconnect all these hoses and such, and then I have to pick this thing up and take it into the bathroom, into the tub, dump it out, and start scrubbing it down. So I'm going to cut away for right now, and I'll get back to you soon. So this is what's left. I cut all the root mass off. I emptied all the hydroton clay pellets into this bucket here. You need buckets to do this thing, to do the hydroponic. And that's gone right in the trash. This is going to go into the tub and get rinsed thoroughly. Alright, here we are, staring down into the bottom of the bucket. I wanted to show you something. You see this orange silt? You see that? That is from the dust that rubs off from those clay pellets, the hydroton. You buy a bag full of that stuff, and of course it's dry, and because it's pebbles and they're being you know, jostled and jolted and stuff, and yeah, they rub together and dust comes off, powder comes off, and you can rinse this stuff until you're blue in the face. I rinse it and I rinse it, and I keep seeing the dust rinsing out of it, and rinse it, and you're still going to get some of this sludge, some of this silty goo that's going to settle to the bottom of your bucket, into the bottom of the reservoir. And it can clog your pumps, the water recirculating pumps. They suck water in from the bottom where the silt is, and it pumps it up over the top and down through the plant and back into the reservoir again, and that's the recirculation. But it's pulling that stuff up from the bottom where that silt is, and I've had it clog a couple of my pumps on occasion. And you have to take them apart, take the filter out and clean it all up, and really get down in there into the nitty-gritty, into these tiny little spaces in this pump. And I use a toothbrush to get down into these little spaces, and sometimes some Q-tips to clean it all out. So I have some serious cleaning ahead. This is the drudgery. This is the drudgery of marijuana cultivation in hydroponic solution. So I'm going to get to work cleaning this stuff, and I'll get back to you. Okay, now I keep a set of sponges specifically for the purpose of cleaning my hydroponic system. These sponges do not get used for anything else. They do not ever come in contact with any soaps, any detergents, any cleaning solutions like bleach or ammonia, nothing. These things remain clean so that I do not run any risk of contaminating my solution and harming my plants. So I'm going to get to work scrubbing this thing out, and that's all I use is just elbow grease, just the physical scrubbing with this sponge. I do not use any cleaners or chemicals of any kind. And it's going to take a little while to get this thing cleaned up, so I'm going to cut away and get back to you. Okay, so here you can see, I can get some focus on here. Here you can see that red clay silt. Let's see if I can see down inside. See that? It gets all over everything. This is one of the parts of the recirculating pump. See that down inside there? It gets all over everything. See right down in here, in every little crack and crevice, because it's a silt. It's a fine silt. And I have to clean all this out. And it's going to take pipe cleaners and Q-tips and old toothbrushes to do it. But it needs to be done because that can clog. So, once again, this is the drudgery of hydroponics. Well, cultivating marijuana can be messy. This is the inside of my tent. After my last grow, dead leaves, cords, power cords hanging on down. There's my dipstick for measuring the level in the reservoir. So I have some cleaning to do. And I've discovered that all I really need is to just give it a little sweep, get all these dead leaves out, and then just take a wet rag, a damp rag, and just wipe it. It's because there'll be splash over and spills from the nutrient solution, and when it dries it leaves a little crust of nutrient behind. So just a damp rag is all you need. So I'm going to take care of that, and I'll get back to you.